Frank's going to be out for the year right now. Our medical team recommended that he doesn't play on that groin anymore this year.
There's no like surgical procedure you could do on
Not as of right now, no.
How disappointed are you? I mean, this is a guy who obviously, especially with the state of the team, could have gotten good playing time this year and developed. Hasn't happened at all.
Yeah, it's frustrating, obviously, more for him than everybody. We would have loved to have those minutes to really log in and really help his player development. But, at the end of the day, the kid is 20 years old. He's going to have a great summer. We're going to get him healed up and get him prepped for next year.
Is he still in the plans for this team?
Yeah, he's on our roster, isn't he?
What, in terms of the summer, like what does he need to work on, do you think, besides?
Well, that's the first thing, health, but we're going to really try to nail down his three-point shooting, obviously. That's going to be a big part of it, and then some of his mid-range game. We're going to really work hard at that as well.
When he came in, he was a little stronger than he was last year. I mean, in the time that he did play, how much of a difference did you see?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
He came back this year, obviously, a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
How much did you see? I know you weren't obviously coaching last year, but just from what you saw on film or whatever, I mean, how much of a difference did you see in him in the limited time?
Physically, he was totally prepared for this year. That's why I felt very comfortable putting him on different people because, he really put a lot into his body this summer. And, this kid I just felt really bad for him because he's one of our hardest workers. He really worked hard to try to get back, and that thing just got re-aggravated against the Clippers, and it's just unfortunate.
What was the re-aggravation like? How did that happen? Like he was
exactly, Bart. I'm sure it was a slide or something like that probably ignited it. Trying to guard Lou Williams and guys like that off the dribble, that can definitely wake it up.
This summer's the FIBA World Cup. He had mentioned he doesn't know what he's going to do with the first team. Do you have a preference?
No, I don't necessarily. We'll be with him wherever he is. Obviously, spend a lot of time with him and working with him. But we're going to, as we move closer to the end of the year here, he and I will sit down and front office will sit down and we'll talk through it with him and, try to do the best thing for him.
What is your overall philosophy with that, with playing ball in the summer? Some coaches like to have the guys in here instead. Some guys like them to play.
You can't dictate it necessarily to them. You can only suggest. I just think it depends on where a guy is at personally in his career and, number of years and what he necessarily needs for that summer. Some guys need to play in games like that, and other guys need drill work and court work with the coaches. And so a lot of it is just based on where a guy's at, I think.
You say he's in the plans. How do you envision him being a part of this team in the future?
Well, the thing I don't see a position. That's why I keep stressing with Frank. Frank does everything for me. That's why he's so important is he can play point guard, two guard, or three, and he can guard multiple positions. And we just don't have a lot of those on this team. And so I think that's going to be a real key, with getting him healthy is having him for that role.
The outside view on him at this point. He's 2 years in, haven't seen much. Fans are starting to wonder if he's a
That's
bust.
the outside view?
That's the outside view. What's your view? Well, what's your view of it? What's your response to that?
My view is I'm going to keep working to get him better every single day to help this team win, and that's where I'm at.
You obviously have a game to coach tomorrow. What's your emotions with Wade?
That's my brother, but I want to beat him. Obviously, when we compete to win. But I think, overall, I think the cool part is I'm here to witness his last time in the Garden, and he's obviously had some special moments here, and he's had an incredible career, that I was lucky enough to be a part of. So he's like family to me, and I just want to see him go out on a high note this year.
What's been the key to his consistency, his longevity?
His work. He's a tireless worker. He's evolved his game. He's added different pieces to his game so that he can stay relevant. He really, really takes care of his body. This is a guy when, we went on vacation together. I'm an early riser, and it was dark outside most mornings, and he was already up and running and sprinting. And this is in the middle of the summer overseas, hanging out on the beach, and he was just relentless about how he wanted to stay relevant. And so it's no surprise to me that he's still playing at a high level, even in the year that he's saying he's shutting it down.
How did Dennis bounce back yesterday?
Today he looked okay. I think yesterday in the game, I think his body was feeling it some from the practice and just not doing the work, but today he seemed to be moving okay. I think it's going to still be a game or two more before he really gets his legs underneath him.
Coach, you were saying the other day that you're already kind of formatting the defense to who you like, what you expect to have next year. What other parts of your team are you doing that already? Like,
say that again. I'm sorry.
You were saying the other day you're formatting the defense
Starting to build it out, yeah.
to what you expect to have next year and who you will have next year. What other parts of this team are you doing that with already?
Well, the defense is the biggest part.
Okay.
Some of the spacing stuff that we're starting to institute now is going to be things that we carry into next year. A few of the major actions. Posting Kevin is going to be something that we hammer down these last 7 games, is getting the ball to him and really starting to grow him in that post. Those are all things we really want to carry into the next year. And then really trying to really get these guys up to the pace of the NBA and getting them to commit to running and playing at a high speed.
How can you do that if you're not sure yet who you'll have, like personnel-wise?
Well, you got to do it anyway. I think some of these guys are going to be here. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And so for whoever's going to be here, I think we just got to get that ball rolling in that direction. And, once we sort out through the roster who we're going to have, whoever was here at least have a head start on what we're trying to do.
Along those lines, is Mitchell, and this year it's been all about development, is Mitchell as big of a bright spot as you could have hoped for?
When Scott Perry first told me about him, I knew nothing about Mitchell Robinson. And so to go from not knowing about a guy to then hearing about him that he didn't play for a year and now this guy is doing what he's doing, it's beyond a bright spot. This kid is he's showing some serious postseason talents, things that can help you to move down the road.
How about his growth, though, at this stage of the season? He continues to grow more.
It's fun to watch. He just, like I said earlier in the year, he takes everything you say and really tries to apply it. And, he just continues to add stuff to his game. And, I think this summer you're going to see another big jump out of him.
Are you worried at all? I know as you said yesterday, it doesn't always have to be positive. But
Right.
we have seen more of an acceptance, I guess. You see more of the guys than us, but we have seen sort of acceptance in the locker room now. When they lose, it's no longer like all heads are down. Do you see that as well, or is it
No, because part of it is I'm telling them I don't want them hanging their heads. I want them to get back in the fight. But they're taking it to heart. The way they come to work every day, the way they just dealt with that film session, I was brutal. And I got no backlash. They just said, Coach, you're right. We got to do better. And, they absorbed it and they came out here and went to work. But every night, I don't want them wallowing. We suffered, and this is a tough year to go through for anybody. But, holding your head down and pouting and moping around is not going to help us. And so I really stress that to them. Get back up, pick your head up, get back to work.
Was that, this film session, was that as angry as you had been in a while?
In a while, yeah. In a while, because of just the amount of attempts they got off from 3. We said we were going to commit to taking away the 3-point line against them. And those guys got up, basically 53s. Just from an attempt standpoint. So you make a third of them and you scored a bunch of points. And so we just showed all of the breakdowns that led to that and moments of the game that we didn't have focus or effort to the level that could have taken care of business.